today's hearing on foreign threats to taxpayer-funded research. Normally, I don't start until Senator Wyden gets here, but he said we could go ahead, and he'll be here shortly. And also, another reason for starting on time is because we have some votes that's going to interfere to exactly how much of this committee's work, I don't know, but so we want to keep it moving. Taxpayers-funded research has been an integral in keeping America's medical, defense, information technology, and many other products at the forefront of our world's market. Simply said, the United States is the best of the best when it comes to conducting cutting-edge medical research. Our scientists push the envelope to make crucial discoveries and better products, whether it's vaccines, medical treatments generally, and they all fall into the category of great development of intellectual property. These projects can produce important breakthroughs for patients and industry, for the United States and the entire world benefits. We didn't develop this reputation overnight. We earned it through the persistent hard work and dedication of researchers across the country. I'd like to call that a good old-fashioned American work ethic. I thank them for their service to our country. I want them to know that this committee's oversight isn't designed to interfere with the pursuit of knowledge and the free exchange of information by researchers. Rather, this committee's oversight is intended to strengthen the integrity of taxpayer-funded research and especially to preserve our valuable work product. Truly free collaboration and exchange of information is only possible when data and sources are credible and the research process can be trusted. That trust is destroyed when foreign governments or other entities interfere in our research for their gain and to our detriment. Accordingly, Congress, the executive branch, and research institutions must work together to properly balance the robust development and exchange of ideas in research field with reasonable and proportionate common sense efforts to protect the integrity of the research. That's why I've engaged in oversight efforts in this field. Beginning in October last year, I wrote to the National Institutes of Health, the Department of Health and Human Services, and the Health and Human Services Inspector General about threats to taxpayer-funded research. Since then, I've also written to the National Science Foundation and the Department of Defense. Today, we will focus on foreign threats to research funded by the National Institutes of Health, its granting process, and downstream grantees. Those threats include spying, theft of intellectual property, the disclosure of confidential information, and other related efforts that undermine the integrity of research. The National Institute of Health spends $39 billion of taxpayers' money each year on medical research. So the American people have worked hard for that money, and the people deserve to know how the government is working to protect that research and the resulting intellectual property from foreign threats. We know that China is by far the most prolific offender. However, they aren't the only country acting against our interests. In October 2018, while chairman of the Judiciary Committee, I held a hearing on China's non-traditional espionage against the United States. During that hearing, I broached the issue of China's focus on our research institutions and tax-funded research. Today, we can get into more detail regarding the threats. It's without dispute that China has focused its energy on leveraging our hard work for their benefit and, of course, to our detriment. One example hits home for me. In 2011, Chinese nationals tried to steal genetically modified corn seeds from an Iowa field. They tried to ship that seed back to China. Those seeds were the product of years of research and development. The Chinese government says that they're, quote, picking flowers in foreign land to make honey in China, end of quote. And of course, we believe them. Whether we're talking about Confucius Institutes spreading propaganda on college campuses, China's talent programs that have been called brain gain programs, or China planting spies in our industries, the government of China is a serious problem. In 2013, Chinese nationals were charged with conspiring to steal research funded by a multi-million-dollar NIH grant for the benefit of the Chinese government and a direct competitor of the American university where the research was conducted. In an August 20th, 2018 letter to NIH grantee institutions, NIH called attention to a series of threats posed by foreign entities to the integrity of U.S. biomedical research. In that letter, NIH warned that foreign actors have mounted systemic programs to influence NIH researchers and peer reviewers. Also may have worked to divert intellectual property produced by NIH-supported research to other countries, and may have contributed resources to NIH-funded researchers in ways that could impact the integrity of that research. In January of this year, HHS Inspector General notified me that NIH recently made 12 referrals in this area to the Inspector General. Those referrals primarily involved principal investigators, essentially the prime researchers on NIH grants conducting medical research at U.S. universities. Those researchers allegedly failed to meet NIH requirements to disclose foreign affiliations on their grant applications, which turns out to be a very serious problem. Researchers who are secretly supported by a foreign government while working in our research projects can be more susceptible to the influence and control of a foreign parent. We must know who is financially supporting researchers to better understand whether they might be more dedicated to securing the interests of an adversary than to rigorous scientific and medical advancement. Our witnesses can speak to those specific threats and the government's capability to detect and deter. Today, we have witnesses from the National Institute of Health, Health and Human Services Office of National Security, the Health and Human Services Inspector General, and the Department of Homeland Security. Now, you can see an empty chair at the table. The FBI was invited by the committee, given that they are a critical aspects of counterintelligence in this field. The committee invited the FBI April the 30th. That's 26 business days before the hearing date. On May 6th, the FBI said that it would be unable to participate in a hearing, but failed to explain why. My staff followed up with email and phone. On May 7th, the FBI reiterated that they were not able to appear, but again failed to explain why. On May 16th, the FBI responded via email and said the Counterintelligence Division respectfully declines the hearing invite, yet again failing to explain why. On May 23rd, I wrote a letter to the FBI again inviting their attendance. On May 29th, the FBI responded in writing and stated that it does not have a witness available to attend the hearing and the briefing. After just about 1 month of communication between the FBI and my staff, the FBI failed at every turn to explain why the entire Counterintelligence Division did not have a single employee available to attend today's hearings. That's inexcusable, and quite frankly, it's a shame because of their responsibilities. What a wasted opportunity then for the FBI to explain to this committee and the American people what they're doing to help these agencies detect and deter threats to our research. The American people deserve more than a stiff arm from the FBI. However, I appreciate the cooperation of expert witnesses who are here today, and I look forward to a robust conversation. Generally speaking, there are four main issues related to taxpayer-funded research. First, the failure to disclose. Some researchers hired to work on U.S. research projects haven't disclosed that they've received financial contributions from foreign countries. Number two, espionage. Some researchers are spies, and their only purpose is to infiltrate taxpayer-funded research projects to steal intellectual property and bring it to their home country. Third is vetting. The federal government doesn't vet all researchers hired by U.S. institutions to work on taxpayer-funded research, and neither do the institutions. Lastly, the issue of integrity. Some peer reviewers have shared confidential information from grant applications with foreign governments, which will allow them to potentially skip research steps. Some have also attempted to influence funding decisions, undermining the integrity of this taxpayer-funded research. These threats to our research are ongoing, aggressive, and real. The question is, does the government have the capability to detect threats, combat threats, and determine how to protect our research and any financial intellectual property created from that research? Today is an opportunity for our witnesses to engage in a frank discussion about what that threat is and what we in Congress and the executive branch can do all together to solve the problem. So the two branches must be on the same page. So if you believe that there are legislative and policy solutions that will assist you with your already difficult jobs, now is the time to bring it forward, and I hope you can do that at this hearing. I look forward to a robust discussion today on these matters. After this morning's hearing, the committee will then move this afternoon to a classified briefing on the same subject matter. I strongly encourage the witnesses to take advantage of the highly classified environment to provide as much information to the committee as possible. When Ranking Member Wyden gets here, I'll call on him, and now I'll introduce